You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Y&R fans, I've got your early weekly spoilers for October 28th through November 1st. Phyllis is furious and Lucy is scared. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and as we always do on early edition day, we're going to start with what's coming the rest of this week to set you up for next week's spoilers. Hey, please click subscribe if you're not following us. So on Wednesday, October 23rd, Nick sees Phyllis at Society, and she tells him things are bad with Daniel and Lucy. They are still grieving Heather's death, and someone is framing him, and Phyllis talks to Nick about who would want to destroy her family. And she basically says it's Sharon. Nick is shocked. And he's like, no, there's no way. Phyllis thinks he is naive. And she reminds him that she was unstable, off her medication, and was attacking her family. And Phyllis insists that Nick is scared to know the truth. And Nick tries to turn it around and says that it's Daniel being around that triggers Sharon. But Phyllis says Daniel's not the problem. She does not care about Sharon. And Nick tries to backpedal and says, I'm not blaming Daniel. I'm just talking about her mindset. Phyllis completely loses it and says flat out Sharon is unstable and killed Heather and is framing Daniel to save herself. Things get really messy from there, and he says Sharon's on her meds, she's on track, doesn't need Phyllis attacking her. She is disgusted because her son is facing life in prison, and she doesn't want to talk to Nick anymore, but he's not going to drop this. He said, just let Chance investigate. And she said, the problem is Chance is being led towards Daniel because what Sharon has done, and she calls Nick brainwashed. Meanwhile, Daniel goes over to Sharon's and wants to confront her. He wants to know why she was at his house the night Heather died. She asks him in and starts telling her lies, how she wanted to apologize to Heather and Lucy, and then starts saying all the lies about how Heather said they had a terrible argument, how Heather said she was terrified of him. And Daniel's like, no, none of that happened. When I left to go out with Lucy, we kissed. I told her that I loved her. Everything was good with us. And Daniel asked Sharon, did you hurt Heather? And he said, because I have never, ever raged at Heather, but you have raged at Heather and Lucy. Sharon makes a lot of excuses, wants to know if he came there to accuse him. And Daniel tells Sharon that Lucy's heartbroken and she might lose her other parent because someone is setting him up. Chance and the CSI guys are at the apartment, and they find some blood smatter, and they find the murder weapon. It's this metal octopus thing. Chance figures out quickly Heather was killed there and dumped at the river. Phyllis meets up to talk to Chance and tells him again, Daniel's innocent. Chance tells her to butt out, let us do our job. And Phyllis says, the thing is, he's being framed. Sharon was the last person to see Heather alive. Sharon lied, didn't tell anyone, and then came back with it later. Sharon was getting aggressive with Heather and Daniel and Lucy. Phyllis doesn't like that Chance is investigating this since he used to date Sharon, and he thinks that Phyllis is biased. Phyllis thinks that Chance is biased. This is getting really, really messy. Sharon starts hallucinating Nick after Daniel goes. Cameron is there saying, don't talk to him. Hallucination Nick says, tell me everything, I'll fix your problem. Cam's telling her she's lovesick, and Sharon thinks she really needs to tell the real Nick. And the real Nick is suddenly at the door. Sharon cries in his arms and says she can't take it anymore. Danny calls his son Daniel, and they talk about Heather's funeral. And Daniel asks him to take Lucy on tour. He's worried he's going to be arrested. He doesn't want her to have to deal with all of this. Danny is going to send Christine to help him. Then on Thursday, October 24th, guess what? Christine is back in Genoa City. She's there to help Daniel. Cops have the murder weapon. It's probably likely that Daniel's prints are on it because it's an object that lived in his house, right? Sharon is backed into a corner, so I'm sure Nick is going to question her about what she's saying, but I'm guessing she's going to backpedal and try to lie and say that Daniel was there and scared her. I really hope that Nick thinks about what Phyllis told him, but Nick is naive where Sharon is concerned because he's been in love with her for so long, but he has to know that her being off her meds and unhinged, and she was making threats, but he's not going to see it. Jack brings news to Traci that freaks her out, and I wonder if this is the scene from the promo where Traci finds out from Diane that Jack told her to move out. Traci tries to mediate between Jack and Diane to calm things down. On Friday the 25th, Phyllis does damage control to try and help Daniel. She got Chance very upset, said she didn't think he should be on the case, and I just wonder if Sharon is going to turn around and tell Chance that Daniel came to her house and was scaring her like he scared Heather. I mean, I don't even know what kind of lies Sharon's going to tell next. It's just awful. And Victor is scheming to try and recruit Diane into his plot. I suspect he's going to think she and Jack have split. I really hope that Diane and Jack are having these public scenes to set up Victor. That's what I'm really hoping. I hope they're outsmarting him. Billy has a really intense talk with Jack, and he's clearing the air with him. And I hope it's about what's going on with Lily and Jill and other things going into the week of October 28th through November 1st. We just had Chelsea writing Adam a reality check. She told him it's a hard no. We are not going to reunite. I wonder if he's going to circle back around to Sally and find out that she is absolutely disgusted at his hit piece on Billy. And after that, Sally and Billy might circle back around to that revenge sex thing they were talking about to clap back at Adam and Victor. Lily and Audra had a big talk this week about Victor, so I'm also thinking they're going to circle back around to do some scheming together soon. On Tuesday, October 29th, Amy Lewis is back in town. She comes to Nate's door with something important to say, likely about his father, Nathan Sr. Phyllis told Nick and Chance both that Sharon did this, but they both seem sold on her innocence, and the circumstantial evidence is piling up against Daniel. And again, that murder weapon probably has Daniel's prints on it. And remember, Sharon went in there wearing those knit gloves. Knit gloves are not exactly fingerprint proof, especially once they get wet, but I'm sure Y&R doesn't care much about that. This is all too easy, and Daniel did agree to let him search the house. Now, Daniel would have known there was a bloody murder weapon and bloody towels and Heather's phone if he did this. So it just doesn't add up. I hope Chance pulls his head out of his tushy and sees that. Christine is going to be fighting very hard to save Daniel from this planted evidence, and she is very good at her job. Plus, Chance should not be on this case, so maybe she can get some of the evidence thrown out. That would be interesting. And I just wonder if Diane is going to take Victor up on that offer. And remember, November sweeps starts Thursday, October 31st. Abby and Devon's wedding is going to be in sweeps, but not until mid-November, when we are going to get Jill Abbott back, along with Anna Hamilton and Yolanda Hamilton.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.